Peace, family. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video about Officer Tatum. It was in response to the fighter at the MMA fight that was sponsored at the White House, where one of the participants, after winning this match, unceremoniously said that Michelle Obama was a man. Officer Tatum came out in defense of this white guy, which that's not shocking at all. And he said, well, maybe Michelle Obama is not a man, but she's not attractive. And basically he called her ugly. So I did a video in response to that. And YouTube is a little slow responding, and it kind of popped, and some people commenting on it, leaving all these long responses, and I try to read them all. You have to appreciate ignorance. And one was talking about, that took offense to what I said, talking about something, slavery wasn't just black people. I mean, I don't know why people take that particular stance when you talk about slavery or whatever. I find no comfort knowing that other people are suffering around the world, and I'm not the only one. That don't make me feel any better. If I'm on a Titanic and the ship is sinking, I don't take solace in the fact knowing that I'm not the only one that's going to either freeze to death or drown in the water. I feel a little bit better about it. Nobody thinks like that. But white people in their desperation, that's exactly how they think, and they want you to think like that too. She later on, she referenced the Jews and dealing with their Holocaust. But see, when you look at how white people view the Jewish Holocaust and how white people view slavery, is totally different. The Jews came out of the Holocaust still speaking their language. The Jews come out of the Holocaust saying that this will never happen again. Never again is the Jewish mantra. And what did they start doing? They started building their own independent means to sustain their own existence. They said they would never allow another race of people to have control over their existence. And they have been going after everybody that had anything to do with the Holocaust. The United States itself has been paying the Jews reparations for decades. And they continue to pay them. They don't say that about slavery. It's ridiculous. Then she goes on to talk about how they abolished slavery. I don't know how you abolish slavery when you say that slavery no longer exists, and you release the slaves from their captors, and then they turn around and your enslavers become your employers. How does that abolish slavery? When the same people who you work for free for all your life now are going to pay you slave wages for the rest of your life. How is that abolishing slavery? No independent means to sustain these people's existence. No independent means for them to educate their own people, provide for their own health, have ownership and control over their existence. But, and even in their own Constitution, when they said that slavery is no longer allowed in this country, except if you're adjudicated by law to commit a crime. You couldn't even get a whole sentence dedicated to the abolishment of slavery. They combined the end of slavery and the continuation of slavery all in the same freaking sentence. But to them, that's abolishing crime. And then she said, now and after that, now black people are the most privileged people on the planet. We are the most privileged people on the planet. I cannot believe that. But see, this is why I say my people need leadership. And I profess myself to be that leader. Because see, when I see the word privilege to me means allowance. Privilege to me means that somebody is allowing you whatever liberties that you may have. And if you don't own and control the businesses, industries, and institutions that you want to exercise these privileges, you're going to be limited. So until we own our own, then we can say what privileges that we allow, because we control it. We can limit it. We set the standards of it, not nobody else. You don't see the Jews sitting up here talking about we're the most privileged people on earth because the Germans allow them to do this and the Germans permit them to do that. But like I say, people look at slavery and the Holocaust two totally different ways. And then she's talking about I was never a slave. Nobody I know was a slave. Nobody I know ever enslaved anybody. So I should just get over it. You know, like I say, you have to appreciate the ignorance of people. I don't know whether this is just pure ignorance or pure stupidity. But the fact of the matter is this: when slavery happened, and it was going on for almost 300 years, they were building institutions, businesses, industries to continue the economic, political, social imbalance, so that when these slaves were released, they are still serving the same institutions that kept them enslaved for almost 300 years. You tell me, black people that still live in this system today, up under the same system of government, up under the same, you see the businesses that existed during slavery still here: Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, all types of insurance companies, Aetna Insurance Company. All these businesses all had roots in slavery and still in existence today. And we're supposed to just get over that? We're supposed to buy homes, take care of our family and stuff, working for the same businesses, the same industries, that suffer up under the same institutions that enslaved our people. You know what? Don't get me started with this. And then after all of this, you're going to talk about Michelle Obama is still not attractive. I don't know how anybody with 2020 vision can look at Michelle Obama and despite whatever political affiliation that she may be associated with, and see her as not attractive. Any woman who has been on the arm of her man since college, and she's now 60 years old or 50 something years old, still on the arm of the same man, still got the sparkle in the eye when she see him. You can hear the love and affection that a Barack has when he speak about her. I don't care what she look like. That's a beautiful woman, and one that any man will want in their arm. But look at Melania. And yes, like I said in my previous video, Melania is very attractive, but it's her inside that make her ugly. Everybody she's been associated with has been for exploitation. She's posed nude for magazines for the world to see. She had a long relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He then turns around and introduces her to Donald Trump. How do you look at a woman like this, as beautiful as Melania is, and the men that she chose to be with, you can't see that there's some kind of flaw in this woman? There's a defect somewhere in there. No integrity, no standards. All you need to do is just have money, and she's yours. And then talking about something, I got some nerve using the Bible to justify my racism or entitlement. First of all, you say I'm the most privileged people on the planet. Now I'm entitled to it. Who wants to be black? Who you know what? If I'm using the Bible, and the only way I'm using the Bible to justify my racism, if I twist the words. First, how do you twist the words of the Bible? How do you do that? Because let me say this, because I didn't mean for this video to go this long, but I'm gonna extend it out. You have your reasons. Everybody had their reasons for believing in the Bible. Black, white, whoever. White people have their reasons. They are the most unsuccessful race of people on the planet. But in order to justify their position or their aspirations in the world, they had to create a history for that. And how did they do it? They stole it from the Bible. They didn't have the cultural consistency, cooperation amongst themselves. So they stole the history from the Bible. They turned the characters from black to white, saying that God was made in their image. Jesus Christ looked like them. And you're going to sit up here and say, I twist the words of the Bible? If anything, I'm twisting it back to the way that it was the way God intended it to be. That it was black people who were made in God's image. It was black people who were made to justify God's glory. It was black people, people of color, whom God gave his laws to and made his blood covenant with. But when I say that, then that's racist. No, that's restoration. That's restoring the black people what was taken from them. And if anybody is twisting the Bible to justify their racism, it would be white people. Show me in the Bible where it says that you can burn a cross in the front of somebody's house to terrorize the occupants. But see, you monsters wouldn't admit that you burning the cross. You say that you're lighting a cross in somebody else's yard, terrorizing them. You do this not only lighting the cross, but you do this right after church service. Will you snatch black people from their home or from their business, string them up, burn them, cut them up, cut their genitals off, and cannibalize them? You did this after church service. And if anybody is twisting the Bible to justify their racism, because see, whatever racism you think I'm trying to do isn't depriving nobody of anything. But why don't you white people tell these Negroes what's the real reason why you cut their genitals off? Why don't you tell them that? It wasn't just because of you envious or jealous of the loins of the black man. Tell these Negroes the real biblical reason. Because see, the brutality that white people perpetrated on blacks, they knew the Bible. And like I say, they had a very specific reason why they cut the penis off a black man. But see, white people ain't gonna tell you that. And you know, and like I say, I don't know how you can say that somebody can twist the words of the Bible. What it is how you interpret the Bible. And like I say, when I see it, and I need help at times interpreting the Bible, but most of the time I can read and I can understand what I'm reading. It's you white devils who truly twist the Bible, make it say, or you cut sentences off, or you have slave Bibles where you only give the slaves only portions of books to read. But you want to sit here and accuse me of doing that. But you know, like I say, I don't know if this is ignorance, or stupidity, or some combination of both. But white people, you know, as I said before, and I will always say, you people are immune to holiness. You sit up here talking about how I'm misrepresenting the Bible, like you ever held it meaning or its interpretation dear to your heart. You did all type of brutality, hatred, just despicable things in the name of the Bible, using this as motivation for your brutality. You people are immune to holiness. Even when you was teaching your own children that they were the image of God and all that, it still didn't inspire you to be a Christian, a moral person, a meek and kind person that was kind to immigrants and kind to your neighbors. You still couldn't do it. And you got the nerve to sit up here and accuse somebody, get out. You know what? I'm in this video here. I can't even go on with this nonsense. As always, these are my thoughts, my opinions. I invite you to leave yours in the comments, and I will read them. And I'll see you in my next video. Ashe.